This time, we were exploring in beautiful Italy. During a normal holiday, I realised that we were only miles away from a notorious disused asylum which contains many interests and architectural beauty on its interior. Join us as we search the 20+ building complex for highlights to experience our first European abandonment to date. The first thing we noticed about visiting abandoned sites in Italy was the heat. It was absolutely boiling during our insightful look into this hospital, especially when the property is perched on the top of a hill and we had to walk all the way up. After we followed the winding road for what felt like ages, we could eventually see our first colourful buildings that would have made up the complex. The overgrown foliage on them was apocalyptic because the asylum is so vast. It felt as if we were wandering through a vacant village. Similarly to how most psychiatric hospitals were designed, this one had also plenty of features, enough for someone to live there for a long time without leaving. As we mentioned, there were more than 20 buildings spanning across the gigantic land the site has to offer, and we knew we didn't have the time to look for every single one. Luckily, we had planned ahead and made sure we knew where the best bits were, but at points we did venture inside some of the buildings we didn't know anything about, just to see their situation. The opening infiltration of this explore led us to a room filled to the brim with papers. Nothing had been removed from the site upon closure, which was obvious to us now. However, that isn't to say the place wasn't ransacked. Many vandals and other explorers must have visited this site in the past, as there were common signs of destruction and unnecessary graffiti. Next up, we moved to what was probably the smallest building on the site, the asylum's mortuary. In England, we aren't finding many morgues like this near us currently, so it was good to see one again, although that doesn't take away from the sadness the simplistic room would have seen. The morgue had one slab and 2 operating tables, where bodies could be dissected to maybe reach conclusions on the happenings of their death or for scientific purposes. Following our viewing of the 3-roomed structure, we trek back across the asylum to the largest building in the property, which is also the most historical. In the early 1800s, this impressive villa was constructed by a wealthy man who was the father of a disabled son. In this era, this man tried all his life to cure his son of what was believed to be an illness, so when he died he devoted all his land and possessions to a charity for the mentally ill. The villa became a psychiatric institute in the 1860s. The stunning mansion doesn't look the same today. Its once maintained garden is neglected and the brickwork is showing in cracks on its walls. It's worth mentioning the amazing perspective the structure had on its surroundings, which we could see from an outdoor terrace. We were aware that inside the villa turned hospital was something beautiful that we had never seen anything that compares to previously. Moving through the dark basement, we headed up the crumbling stairs into what can only be described as an Italian masterpiece. This incredibly ornate entrance hall boasts two 10-foot paintings opposite each other, a magnificent tiled floor, identical balconies with curving railings, and possibly the best ceiling we've laid our eyes on. All accompanied by the exotic views from the windows, we cannot find fault with the room, maybe except for the fresh graffiti on the walls, which we can't understand. Considering the hospital has been closed for almost 30 years now due to the equivalent of the English deinstitutionalisation in Italy, we can't see this stunning hall being saved. One of the two paintings has scratched off completely over time, so how long will it be until the other follows suit? There is a handful of medical equipment on the second floor of the main building, and we found some interesting remnants.
Quite a few in there.
We think that a lot of these rooms have been set up by photographers, sadly, but that doesn't take away from the old-fashioned hospital furniture that you won't find anywhere today. All in all, this asylum was a perfect portrayal of the possibilities Italian abandonments have for us, mainly due to the lacking of security influence in the country. We'll be sure to consider Italy when planning any future URBEX trips. Next time. We are presenting one of our last explores from our island trip at the start of summer. This huge mansion quickly went high on our list after our visit because of the unpredictable discoveries we made whilst inside. You won't want to miss this one. Thanks for watching our latest video. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed and drop a like. You can find our new website linked in the description. See you next time.